Pride of Higara. This is Captain Soban of the fleet, Farron Shah. Looks like you could use a hand. Attention all Sobani, pick your targets and engage.
Hello everyone, this is Captain Soban. Welcome aboard the Starship Enorma Prize for another episode of Homeworld Tactical Fleet Simulator, where we are doing the ship showcase series, showing off the Vaygr ships. And in today's episode, as you guys could probably already tell, we're taking a look at the Corvette class ships. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, our first ship in front of us is the Missile Corvette. This is the first ship you can build. It's available as soon as you build your Corvette facility, and let's go ahead and talk about it. So, Missile Corvette, CTG-8. Unit role, Anti-Corvette. Secondary role, Anti-Fighter. Subclass, Tactical Corvette. Tech level, Mark 1 Missile Corvette. Engagement range, short. Prerequisites, Corvette facility. Armament comes with 2 SRCM, which I believe is concussion missiles, SRCM-5s injection launchers, and this is 5 kilotons of TNT, so they're not really powerful, but they come with the ship. They have engagement range of 2.5 kilometers. Strong versus, oh yeah, I don't have this up, so you guys can, actually see the stats and whatnot. Strong versus Corvettes and platforms, so anything that's kind of stationary. Mediocre versus fighters and frigates. Weak versus anti-Corvette frigates and capital ships. So it's mediocre versus fighters because the concussion missiles are powerful enough to really wipe out fighters, but they can't really keep up with the fast-moving fighters, so they tend to outmaneuver the missiles. And frigates, they're mediocre versus frigates because they do a decent amount of damage, and they could probably take down some more of the like ion cannon frigates or like marine frigates, like those type of frigates, but won't be able to handle like the heavily armed frigates. And of course they're weak against anti-Corvette frigates or any type of ship that's good against Corvettes, because yeah, that's kind of their weakness as a Corvette class ship. And weak versus capital ships because they don't do enough damage to really bother them. Description: Tactical Corvette squadron armed with concussion missiles that are effective against all forms of strike craft and lightly armored targets. The versatile armament makes the CTG-8 a suitable counter for corvettes, fighters, and light frigates until more specialized units can be fielded. So it does have kind of a multi-role, but I would definitely use these guys against like Corvette class ships, because that is what they are designed to fight against. Although if you really had to use them in an emergency, they could be used against fighters or frigate class ships. Okay. And then I love the fact that the Vaygr Corvettes have their bridge on the bottom. I really like that aesthetic. It's really cool. Moving on to the next frigate, or Corvette class ship I should say, we have the Laser Corvettes. Now, I really do like the Laser Corvette design, too. I like the fact they have the lasers right here. I like the fact they're fixed, so they have to point towards the enemy. These are really cool Corvette class ships. Anyways, let's read about them. Laser Corvette, CTA-8. Unit role, anti-capital ship. Secondary role, anti-frigate. Subclass, attack Corvette. Tech level, Mark 1 anti-capital Corvette. Engagement range short. Prerequisites, Corvette facility, and an HLC 900 tech. So, it comes with 2 HLC 900 or 900 megawatt laser cannons, but they can be upgraded to 2 HLC 1200 or 1.2 gigawatt laser cannons. So these laser cannons have a lot of punch to them. They are very powerful. Strong versus Corvettes and capital ships, mediocre versus subsystems, and weak versus fighters Corvettes. Makes a lot of sense. These turrets are fixed, and they're very powerful, so they'll be really powerful against frigates, against slow-moving targets like frigates and capital ships. They're okay against subsystems, because if the ship is moving, it's going to be difficult for these guys to target them, because one, they have kind of a wide arc, so when they're targeting the enemy, they have to be pretty precise to hit the target. And and sometimes it's just kind of difficult to do. And they are also the weak versus fighters Corvettes because they don't have a whole lot of maneuverability, and again, they're fixed turrets, so it's gonna be very difficult for them to hit targets that are just flying around all over the place. So basically, these are your bombers for the Corvette class ships. Just treat them like a tactical bomber, and they'll work just fine. Next, we have the Lance Gunship, which is a pretty cool little name. And I love how these guys remind me of that I forget what the aircraft is called. I might put a picture here up on the screen, but it's basically one of those aircrafts that can be used as an airplane or a helicopter because it has those it has its propellers on like a spindle or a swivel or whatever it's called, where it can make it go forward when it's in aircraft mode, and then it can bring it up if it's in like helicopter mode. These guys, I don't know why, but maybe it's just the aesthetic, but they kind of remind me of that ship. And again, I love the fact that they have the bridge on the bottom. That looks really, really cool. Anyways, let's read about them. So, Lance Gunship, GTL-9, unit role, anti-fighter, subclass gunship corvette, tech level Mark 1 anti-fighter corvette, engagement range short, prerequisites, Corvette facility, and PL-150 RF tech. I believe RF stands for rapid fire. Indeed. So it comes with two PL-150 dual RF plasma lance turrets, which are these guys over here on the side. These are 150 megawatt turrets, so they don't have a whole lot of power to them, but they are rapid fire, so they shoot very, very quickly. Strong versus fighters. I'm assuming that these guys have very fast moving turrets. I believe they're also independent too, because of the way it's like swiveled. So this guy can go up while this guy stays where he's supposed to be. So they can target like 4 fighters at the same time. Basically, I think of this guy as the multi-gun Corvette of the Vaygr fleet. Really, really cool. So they're mediocre versus light Corvettes because the plasma lances don't quite do enough damage to handle the Corvette class ships. And they're weak versus frigates and capital ships for the same exact reason. Description: advanced Corvette squadron armed with short pulse laser turrets. Oh yeah, they are pretty short, 2.4 kilometers, with a high rate of fire, making it extremely effective at dispatching fighters. However, the CTL-9's light armament makes it ineffective against any target larger than Corvettes. Yeah, he won't do a whole lot of damage against anything bigger than a Corvette. He might be able to handle Corvettes, but I wouldn't recommend it. Basically, treat these guys as a multi-gun Corvette from the Kushan or the other mods, and they will work just as well as you want them to. Next, we have our other missile Corvettes, our upgraded version of our basic missile Corvette. And I like the design of these guys too. I like all these missiles that they're just like attached to the side. I like the bridge on the bottom. I like the flat top. I don't know. I really like the Corvettes in this mod. And some of these might be from the original, but I really like the style of the Vaygr Corvettes in this mod. Maybe it's because it reminds me of Kushan, because it's very boxy, which I really like, and at the same time it has its own aesthetic. Like, it's very organized, like you know where things are just by looking at it. It's not all chaotic with a bunch of like weapons all over the place. So I like these guys. Anyways, missile Corvette, CTG-9, unit role anti-Corvette. I was about to say advanced Corvette. Secondary role anti-fighter, subclass heavy Corvette. Tech level Mark II missile Corvette. Engagement range short. Prerequisites: Corvette facility, Corvette enhancements, and MRM-8 tech. So this baby comes with 8 MRCM-7 missile launchers, which are concussion missile launchers that produce 7 kilotons of TNT. They are a little bit more powerful than the original ones on the original missile Corvette, which were 5 kilotons. They also have a lot longer range. It's 4.5 compared to 2.5. They're strong versus fighters, Corvettes, and platforms, because these missiles are very fast and very powerful, so they can wipe out fighters, they can wipe out other Corvette class ships, and they can wipe out stationary targets with ease. Excuse me. And they're mediocre versus frigates and light capital ships because it doesn't quite do enough damage. I don't actually have these guys selected, so you guys couldn't see that. Sorry. So they don't quite do enough damage against frigates and capital ships. Because, again, they're concussion missile launchers. Those are designed to take care of strike craft, not capital ships. And they're also weak against anti-corvette frigates and cruiser-class ships. They're weak against cruisers because I believe a lot of cruisers have a lot of like anti-missile weapons, and anti-corvette frigates, obviously, because those are good against corvettes. I believe that's why, or it might just be the fact that cruisers have more armor and whatnot, and so they just don't do any damage against cruisers and battleships. That's possible what it means by that. Since it says mediocre versus light capital ships, which are usually like destroyer-class ships. Okay. And description. Heavy tactical Corvette squadron armed with a large complement of medium-range missiles for clearing out entire squadrons of enemy fighters and corvettes. Heavy armor and armaments makes this Corvette moderately effective in any anti-frigate and anti-capital ship role. So yeah, it can do some damage against them, but it more or less supplements whatever is being engaged instead of being the one that directly engages them. More of a support role in that matter. But really cool ship. I love its design. I love its missile layout. And I think because it reminds me a lot of the Missile Destroyer, which is one of my favorite ships too. And it's very blocky, which I like that style for some reason. Okay. Next we have our Command Corvette. And the Command Corvette, I really like its design too. And again, I think it's something to do with the blocky design of these Corvettes. And just the fact that everything is organized and not synthetic, but symmetrized or in symmetry. It looks really good. I really, really like it. And the emblems. I still need to put my actual emblem on. I might do that in the simplex playthrough. Or like whatever next playthrough we go through, but I'm gonna keep the EV emblem just because of the fact I started the game with the emblem, or I started the series with those emblems, so I'm just gonna go all the way through with those. But anyways, let's take a look at the Electronic Warfare Corvette, or the EWAC Corvette. So blah blah blah, EWAC CTR9. Unit role Tactical Command, secondary role Electronic Warfare. Subclass EWAC Corvette, tech level Mark 1 electronic warfare unit, engagement range medium, prerequisites Corvette facility, and then Corvette C31 and EWS. Armament 2 KAC-35 rapid fire turrets, that's 35 millimeter turrets. And of course, that's these two big turrets it has on the left and right side, or port and starboard side of the ship. And then it comes with a electronic jamming at 25% strength. So it can jam. I think that means that if the enemy like launches missiles or whatnot, there's a chance of it to jam. Like there's a 25% chance of that missile jamming and not knowing where to go. I think that's what that means, but I'm not entirely sure. And then the C31 command system, which is a 6-kilometer radius, and then an anti-dust cloak sensor. So it can detect things. It can detect enemy cloaked ships about 3 kilometers around the ship. It can also see things inside dust clouds and whatnot up to 3 kilometers. So that's really cool. And then active sensor ping as well when it's upgraded. Strong, weak, and mediocre versus nothing. Obviously, it's a command frigate or command corvette. Description: non-combatant corvette equipped with electronic warfare systems and theater command and control modules that bolster the efficiency of friendly combat units, which provide electronic jamming support. It is also capable of pinging the battle space with its sensors when upgraded. So these weapons right here really aren't designed for combat. Instead, I believe what they do is they're used to shoot down enemy missiles to help support the fleet. So not only does this thing shoot down missiles, but it jams enemy missiles from firing. And it also provides a cloaking and a dust field scanning for the fleet. So lots and lots of support stuff that the command frigate does, where before I think all it did was like buff the fleet by like 15 or 20% on damage within a certain radius. So definitely been changed in this mod, and I like the aesthetics changes too. It looks a lot better. I think it's also a little bit longer too. Like I think they made the ship longer. I think they made a lot of these Corvettes longer actually. So really, really cool. Now, last but not least, we have the mighty Mine Layer Corvette, which again is from the original game. I love the look of the Mine Layer Corvette. I love the fact the bridge is right here. I love the fact our emblem's up here. It's a really, really cool looking ship. Anyways, so Mine Layer Corvette CTS-8, unit role, aerial denial fleet defense. I love that role. I love the fact, I just love the sounding of that role. This is an aerial denial ship. It's like he's the bouncer that prevents you from entering an area in space. He's like, nope, you don't have your ID. You get out of here. Just makes me chuckle. Secondary or subclass utility Corvette, not unity. Whatever I was gonna say. Tech level none. I think you get this. Well, I'll just continue going. Engagement range short. Prerequisites: Corvette facility, CTS-8 mine layer. Armament comes with 2 autocannons, KAC 90 fletchet rounds, which is 90 millimeter. I believe it's these things up here in front. I think this is the dual turret. I think that's how it works. And this back here is the mine laying device. Also comes with a anti-missile proximity burst shells. The 5-kilometer range. There's some sort of turret. Or some sort of weapon that shoots down enemy missiles. And comes with 1 gravitonic mine deployment system. So it's strong versus capital ships, frigates, and missiles. So these guys, not only can they deploy mine, but they can also shoot down enemy missiles to help protect your fleet from those like large torpedoes that the enemy like to send in. Mediocre versus nothing, and weak versus fighters and corvettes, because again, it doesn't really have any weapons that can track down strike craft, and the gravitonic mine system doesn't work against strike craft because they move too fast. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. If you're going to use this in your fleet, have something to protect it against strike craft. Or just, if you know that you're going to be going into a wasp's nest of enemy fighters, just docking into a capital ship until we destroy the fighters, and then you can bring it out and continue using it to protect the fleet. Description: Logistics Corvette equipped with a gravitonic mine system for creating minefields. Provides anti-missile defense and the clearing of enemy mines. So it can also shoot down enemy mines as well. You can shoot down enemy missiles and enemy mines on an intercept course with your fleet. Or if you come across like an area that has a lot of asteroids with a lot of mines, you can use this guy to shoot down the mines. But very, very cool. Also been expanded from the original Homeworld 2, where this guy was just a mine layer Corvette, where you just tell him to deploy mines somewhere and that's all he does. So he has more than one role in this mod, which is really, really cool. Gives him more of a utility and more of a reason to build these guys. Because I never really build these guys in Homeworld, unless I just plan to screw around and just build a bunch of like death traps for capital ships. So I probably need to, if we play the Vaygr in this mod, I need to kind of remember to actually use them a lot more. Or the Higaran version too. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it. There's only 6 Corvettes on the Vaygr side, so this was kind of a shorter video than normal. We will be going through a lot more frigates in the next round too, because there's a lot of really, really cool frigates that I want to show off. But hopefully this will help you guys understand how all the Corvettes work on the Vaygr side if you guys play this mod. And hopefully you guys just enjoy my rambling on about how these ships work. But anyways, guys, let's see. This is probably, yeah, we'll make that the thumbnail. That's a really, really cool ship. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy this. Please leave a like if you did. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. If you want to see more of me, I do have a second channel in the video description called Captain Soban's Other Games, where we play games that are not space related. So Skyrim and VR, Thrillville. What else am I playing on that channel? Open Tycoon Training Deluxe. Open Trains Tycoon Deluxe, something like that. We're playing that one. And then Planet Crafter is another game that's all being on that channel. So yeah, you guys can check that out if you want to see more of me. Be in the video description if you want to see it. But anyways, guys, until next time, this is Captain Soban signing out.
The Vaygr have arrived. Emergency hyperspace procedures initiated.